An Islamic country known for its conservatism has sparked outrage with its new intentions to relax rules and restrictions in order to modernize itself. The rules and regulations in Saudi Arabia are founded on Islamic values in the Quran. However, as part of Vision 2030, the government has been attempting to modernize its legal system and bring it up to international standards. That being said, some rules and regulations could well be relaxed in Saudi Arabia that contradict Islamic beliefs. We present you in this video Saudi Arabia's ease of Islamic rulings that created an uproar in Muslim societies and communities throughout the world. But before we go any further, keep in mind that while amends have certain benefits, they may also have more drawbacks than merits in the long run. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia announced the Vision 2030 initiative to improve the business environment and attract more foreign investment. The government then announced plans to relax some of the country's strict laws and social regulations as a part of this vision. Who could believe Saudi Arabia would permit loud public music performances, the opening of cinemas, and lifting the ban on women attending sports events and stadiums? The ease of a few laws and regulations, which might seem very controversial, are measures that have helped Saudi Arabia become an attractive destination for foreign investment. This would contribute to the country's growing economy. But is money more important than faith? Let's discover which laws have been eased just recently. 1. The public music performances. Having a public music performances in Saudi Arabia was unimaginable. In 2017, the government lifted the 35-year ban on general music performances. Since then, several music festivals and concerts have been held in the country, featuring local and international performances. They know well enough that Islam has declared music haram. The lifting of traditionally strict regulations on public music performances and entertainment events raised many questions. The country is making efforts to become modern and to promote a more open and liberal society, but people have questioned the religious integrity. Is Saudi Arabia forgetting Islam? As part of the Vision 2030 reform plan, the government has also announced plans to invest in the entertainment sector. They have plans to build new concert venues and theaters across the country. This will create more opportunities for musicians and entertainers to perform in public and will also help to promote the country's culture and heritage. All these advantages, however, put the religious values at risk. To answer the raised questions, the government, while liberalizing the entertainment sector and allowing public music performances, has put some restrictions in place. For example, the lyrics and content of songs may be checked to ensure that they do not offend religious or cultural sensitivities. But is this enough to answer the questions? It is certainly not. 2. The cinemas. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has a 35-year ban on cinemas. In 2018, the government announced plans to lift the ban and start issuing licenses for cinemas built and operated across the country. Many cinemas opened across the country. This move was also a part of the government's Vision 2030 reform plan, aiming to modernize the country and diversify the economy away from its reliance on oil exports. But should money be seen only when promoting a business? Is it not important to promote only those businesses that are in line with Islamic values? The cinemas in Saudi Arabia seem to have a huge economic impact. It was estimated that the industry could bring $1 billion in annual revenue by 2030. It was also an attempt to create more employment opportunities across the country. Saudi Arabia appears to be particularly interested in plans that will bring them more economic riches, even if it means going against their Islamic principles. Aside from the economic advantages, easing the prohibition on theaters is considered as a step toward a more open and liberal society. It'll increase the availability of entertainment and cultural events. This would help Saudi Arabia meet Western norms. The first cinemas reopened in the country in April 2018, and since then, the number of theaters has been growing, and it's expected that more than 2,000 screens will be operating across Saudi Arabia by 2030. It is worth noting that while the government has lifted the ban on cinemas, there may still be some restrictions in place. For example, the content of movies shown may be vetted to ensure they're consistent with traditional values. 3. Women attending sports events in the stadiums. In Saudi Arabia, women have historically been banned from attending stadium sports events. The country just recently decided to loosen this restriction. They believed that this ease would help them promote greater gender equality. It would also help them eradicate their label as a conservative country that deprives women of entertainment. The thought of them that it would help them get recognized as a liberal society was quite a bubble of hope. Nevertheless, in the future, they will realize it'll all be temporary, just as is life. The government stated in 2017 that women will be permitted to attend live sporting events in numerous stadiums around the country. Initially, this was limited to a few athletic arenas in big cities, like such as Riyadh, Jeddah, and Dammam. Nonetheless, as time passed and more improvements were made in these venues, more cities began to open stadiums to women. In addition, women were permitted to purchase tickets for themselves, rather than relying on a male guardian to do so on their behalf. The restriction on women attending football events have been repealed permanently by the General Sports Authority by 2019. The government also stated that 3 additional stadiums around the country will be available to women by the end of the year 2019. Some may believe this to be against Islam, while others might disagree. They are doing all of this to give women more rights and power over their life choices, which Islam already provides. So what precisely are they thinking? The question remains whether this newly issued authority will bring positivity to the country or will create more problems. It doesn't appear to be a problem until a women's squad is established and forced to wear shorts like the other players. But yes, there is no doubt sports is for all. However, gender boundaries are a concerned thing at this point here for future developments or easing of laws. 4. Social values in marriage. Saudi Arabia strictly segregated men and women in many areas of public life. In recent years, the government has taken steps to loosen these restrictions, which were considered too strict. The strict dress codes for women have eased, while the traditional dress code still must be followed in public. The government has been more lenient with enforcing it. Still not a problem. Nonetheless, who would accept intoxicated short-clothed people at music stadiums or seasites? What baffles us is how simple fornication has become. Fornication, which is haram in Islam and carries a harsh punishment, has recently been relaxed for non-Muslims residing in the kingdom. Some may believe it was only to attract top-tier celebrities and athletes who would contribute to the country. But nobody knows the true intentions behind the agreements made with non-Muslims by Saudis. Saudi Arabia knows how halal relationships has become rarer in the Western world. It's shocking to know that they are still eager to adopt Western culture. Question is still same. It remains same. Is international spotlight so appealing that Saudi officials felt compelled to tolerate something designated haram in Islam? Not to forget that these actions are of the government only, and they in no way represent the citizens' views. In some conservative segments of society, these changes could be seen as challenging traditional Islamic values and be met with resistance.